Chef Lane has done it again, people. Matcha tea with a splash of eggnog. You can thank me later.
Genius. It's almost my birthday again, and I'm anxious. What am I so worried about? Like I'm going to wake up with a broken hip?
Well, I power washed a bunch of dog poop remnants off my patio this morning, Heather, so you can look forward to not doing that.
Much appreciated. Is it enough that my cat is just really cute? Seems like he should be bringing a little bit more to the table.
Yeah, like rent, maybe some grocery money. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back
Hello.
to Have Such a Good Day.
Welcome
The show
back.
that wants you to do just that.
Episode 168. Sarah Lane, how are you
Frank.
today, sister?
Doing all right. Doing okay. It's a blustery winter day.
It is. It is
in,
indeed.
Or wintry. I don't even know if we're officially in winter yet. I don't know.
I think we
cold.
are. It's gotten pretty cold. It's definitely dipped in temperature. We've got a lot of my whole property is covered in yellow, basically like gold variations of gold leaves, like everywhere. And
Oh my gosh,
it's like
same.
partially it's so beautiful, but it's also sort of sad because like all the trees are naked and maybe cold because it's winter and they have nothing to cover them.
I mean, this is what the trees do.
This is what the trees do. This is nature. And you kind of have to embrace all the seasons. I'm trying to, enjoy all the changes each season brings and not give special treatment to, spring
one
and
season
fall.
over another.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have, speaking of the yellow leaves, a couple trees in particular that are just, they're big and beautiful and leafy most of the year, but right around this time of year, it's when they're going dormant for a while. And it was windy today, and a lot of leaves have already fallen. But I was kind of just prepping for podcasts and doing work inside my apartment, and I would see the wind pick up, and I mean, one of those trees, it was probably still 50% leafy. It's got none. They are all on the ground. It was like, and that happened like within like 20 minutes because it was just like
Wow.
a
It
very
sounds
strong gust.
very windy there. My goodness.
It seems to have calmed down a bit. It's just one of those days where you just feel like your bones are cold.
Oh yeah, totally. I know that's the thing that I really can't get used to living in the Northlands is it's damper here. And so the damp cold, there's something about the crisp, like dry cold, like of the desert in the Southlands that I
different.
preferred.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's
yeah, there's
very
something about like, the wet cold gets into your bones and don't like that feeling, but it is actually quite a sunny day. It's one of those kind of crisp, sunny, beautiful days, and I'm very grateful. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we are the show that talks about the absurdity of everyday adult life for your entertainment and ours too.
Yeah, because what do we know
Thank you
about
for
being
joining us.
kids? We can only talk about being adults.
Yeah, those
Dagnabbits.
memories have receded pretty far in the back of my mind. Being a kid,
I have a few. In fact, I was talking just on my show DTNS that some of you also subscribe to, and thanks for listening to both. We were talking about music class, like when you're like not like in high school, but like where you're playing even an instrument, just sort of like you would have
Yeah.
a period in school where you would kind of like go to the music class and sing for a while. And that's just what you did
Yeah.
in school. And now, depending on what kind of school you went to, I mean, I just went to like a public school in the country, so maybe your mileage may vary. But we were sort of trading like, oh, did you sing this weird song? Oh, yeah, we sang that song. It's like, I guess just music teachers back in, we're talking early 80s. Just probably we're following some curriculum where they're like, here are some songs that have been vetted
oh, totally.
that the kids can sing.
Didn't you sing just the other day, actually, on the set? I was talking to some of the crew members about this, like those songs that you sing, and they all come from different states. Most of them are like from kind of all around the United States, so not everybody came from California. But like we were talking about those songs that you know by heart still to this day. It's like deep ingrained in your bones. And when you do the Pledge of Allegiance, And you used to do I Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States, blah, blah, blah. And then after we did a song after about America, and we started, I started singing it, and they were like, we didn't do that. Like, well, why did we do that? I guess what entailed like a certain state or community to, some curriculum, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I mean,
Oh,
I went
say,
to.
can you see?
Well,
There was that
that's
song.
Well, that's the national anthem.
Well, I know, but we sang that every day in school, in grammar schools.
After the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. Yes, I'm not kidding.
Kind of egregious, really. Like, it's like, okay, guys, we got it.
I know. And then you have your hand
really
on
into
your
America.
on your heart. Oh, we did it every single day. It was the Pledge of Allegiance and then that song after. And a lot of them were like, oh, well, we did the Pledge of Allegiance, but we never sang that song. And I was like, well, why did we? Anyway, something to
We
Google.
did the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, it was every day. It was over the loudspeaker, and so we'd like all like, kids were in various classrooms, but, you all stand up and follow, I don't know, the principal or whoever was doing it that day. And that was not weird to me until I remember going to high school, and then it was just like, oh, we don't do that anymore. And I was like, really? Why? Like, why is it only through 8th grade?
I know.
That you do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they just like don't bother with you anymore. If they really
Like, who
care, wouldn't they
authorized
want to like
this?
keep it consistent?
And who authorizes it? Like a principal or like a state senator or like, where does it come from?
I don't think the principal has a whole lot of sway
Say.
over things like that, but I don't know. And from what I've heard from teachers, there is no more Pledge of Allegiance, at least in
Nope.
California public schools.
Nope. There's a lot
that's not happening
less
anymore.
of those things. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sarah, have you
yeah.
been pummeled by Cyber Monday deals on your email? Have you gotten a deluge today?
Kinda. I just delete everything, or I
Yeah, me too.
unsubscribe if I'm like somehow subscribed to some weird thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really. This year, I mean, there's plenty of things I want, but there's not really anything I need right now besides my health. So I
Yeah.
wasn't looking around for deals. There was a deal I'll get into a little later in the show that I did find, and I was intrigued by. But yeah,
But you didn't go
I don't
for it?
know. Well, I still might. We'll see. Cyber Mondays. It doesn't last forever. But yeah, I don't really. The whole Black Friday thing. I have never once been like, all right, let's camp out at Mervin's in the
Me
morning and get,
neither.
like, the best sales. Like, I
Did you
would
say
just never do
Mervin's?
that because they used to have these very obnoxious. This is very regional for anybody who isn't
Totally.
from Northern California. I don't know if the commercials ran elsewhere, but it was like every holiday season for a few years, it would be like the commercial. The storyline was that there was this woman who just like wanted to get the best deal. And so she was going to be there like 3 days before everybody else. And she would sit against the Mervyn windows and say, open,
No
open,
way.
open. Yes, no, it's
way.
true. True.
That's
I'm sure it's on
crazy.
YouTube somewhere. Yeah, it was
Mervin's
totally
of
creepy.
all
And-
places.
And I just remember thinking like, I don't want a deal so badly that I'm
No.
acting so maniacal.
Well, here's what happens to me.
I
It's
just
like,
don't want to do that. Or like run into a store and like shove people
No.
out of the way. That
No.
doesn't sound fun.
I had a friend call and I was like, hey, what are you up to? What did you do today? And this was Friday. And they were like, oh yeah, we went out and we got all our Christmas shopping done. And I was so like kind of taken aback. Like, you did? You got up today?
You
like
braved
the day
the
after
crowds?
you did that? I'm like, I don't think I've once done that. And sure, I get it. There's sales, there's deals, and I totally understand why people do it. I think for me, there's never something where I'm like, okay, I got to hit that Cyber Monday or the after the holiday sales to get that one thing. I just get pummeled by all these deals, and it makes me feel like I need to get something, which is sort of the
if you were
inverse. Drives me
in the
crazy.
market for, I don't know, a television, right? It's
Yeah.
like Cyber Monday is great.
That
for
makes
stuff
sense,
like that,
totally.
because you really could save a few $100,
Yep,
on something that you actually really wanted anyway.
Well, I had to get a
It's
towel rack, which was not a very sexy purchase, but there was
not
one
sexy,
that
although I need one as well. So let
yeah.
me know how it goes.
I did. I actually pulled the trigger this morning because it was like 25% off. But normally I would not have gotten it because, yeah, it's never goes on sale. So I was like, all right, this is a sign. I got to do this because we
Must
can't
be
hang our
some
towels
towel
anywhere.
rack. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. So in my weird, treehouse wood cabin apartment, everything's made of wood, including, the thing that holds the toilet paper and towel racks and
Yeah, totally.
everything is wood. And that's adorable. But one of my towel racks, which was very helpful, like I didn't actually use it for towels because it was kind of weirdly hung. Like, where sometimes you're like, why did they hang this at this level?
Yeah, like what were they thinking? Oh my
Like
God, I
it's
think
either
about that all
too
the
high
time.
or too low type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
This
yeah.
one was too low. But I would hang like, sometimes if I like, I don't know, I had like workout clothes that I wanted to air
Yeah.
out a little bit type thing. Like it was great for that.
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
I don't have it anymore. And so every time, I kind of muscle memory, I go there and I'm like, oh man, towel rack's broken. I forgot.
It's really funny. You speak of towel racks, but I got my bathroom renovated recently, and it's like 99% done. They just kind of walked away, for the holiday, and then there's like a couple tiny things they have to do, like add some knobs to my cabinets, and I can use it. I can shower in there. It's great. I'm really happy with it. But they bought like a set of like hardware, they call it, so it's like a toilet paper like spool thing you attach to the wall, towel racks, hooks. You can buy these sets, right? So I
Yeah.
told him kind of what I wanted. He bought this set, and it came with one towel rack that, no joke, is like a tiny person towel rack. If you extended your towel out like widthwise to dry it out, it doesn't even fit. It's this really small person towel rack. I'm like, and they hung it and everything, and I'm like, I am so confused. Did they get a child size? Like this is not a normal size towel rack. And that's part of the reason why I have to get like an additional rack, because it just, it doesn't work for me.
Doesn't
Anyway,
do the job. Yeah,
yeah.
you got
What are
towels
people
and you got a
thinking?
life. I don't know. I don't know. That is a very good question.
My cat is starting to aggress on me. So just an FYI, if you hear a big crash and an explosion and me screaming, then that's my cat
Then that's
launching
Heather's
himself
cat,
on me.
who's cute but should also be paying rent.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's kind of a nightmare roommate.
He's kind of a nightmare roommate. I won't lie. I don't even get me started. I don't even know what to do with him, except for maybe I should fulfill this prophecy and kick him off the cliff. I don't know. We'll see.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, on that lovely note, I am. So I know that. Well, you may have not heard last week's episode. That's episode 167, where I cried and everything was very doom and gloom. Not going to do that today. Very much not. If you're like, what happened? I am starting chemotherapy on Friday. Lot has gone into that. I think a week ago, I was kind of just focused on like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And now I'm kind of like, I'm in that mode, Heather, where
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's produce this noise.
Yeah, totally.
Like let's figure out what we need to do beforehand.
I knew you'd get there.
Yeah, and just kind of make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible for whatever is under my control, which is very little, honestly, but some of it is, at least just kind of mental health and just feeling organized.
Totally.
Organization, when all else fails.
It's also distracting you from, you focus on you preparing yourself, keeps you from going down these, rabbit
Well,
holes,
and
I
it's
guess.
just, it's like, I mean, like anything in life, if you just sort of go, I have too many bills, I'm just gonna like not pay them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's not gonna
Doesn't
get any
work that
better.
way.
You
Yeah.
kind of, it's like you try to do your best to take some of the harder things head on, no matter what that means. Everybody's different, obviously. If you can't pay your bills, trust me, I can't pay mine either. So, we're in the same boat. But yeah, so it's a big week that I'm gearing up for in just 4 days. I'm going to be doing my first chemo and a lot of stuff that goes along with that. They have recently told me, as of not even an hour ago, you got to come in for another blood test. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, you guys. I mean,
Before your first chemo?
Yeah, like tomorrow morning.
Oh, geez.
Because they need to check that I don't have hepatitis.
Oh, didn't they
Yeah,
already
which
draw blood? Couldn't they just use that?
Yes, but like, as somebody reminded me, and they're right, where I'm like, God, couldn't you have just checked this? And they say, well, when they send blood off to a lab, it's for specific reasons. Like,
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
true.
just check everything, unless somebody has specifically been like,
Sure.
give us all the information that you have.
Yeah.
So other things have been checked for. Hepatitis, not one of them. I'm not worried that I have it. I assume that if I did, they would be concerned with chemo because, your immune system goes down so hard that they want to make sure, like, all right, you're as tip top as you can be. I will say, though, that because we had the Thanksgiving holiday since we last spoke, and I had a lovely feast with my mom who cooked everything from scratch. I mean, whew, chef's kiss to the chef. And
What was your
But
favorite?
she made so much food. Well, so I love her stuffing. I mean, I could just eat stuffing and gravy for the rest of my life, and I'd be fine.
Is it bread stuffing or like rice stuffing?
Oh, it's bread.
Like
Definitely
classic bread. I love bread stuffing. Oh, well, I love both.
It's
but-
bread stuffing, but it's she kind of puts her own little flair on it. It's like eating candy. It's almost like bread pudding in a way.
Oh, wow. So it's sweet.
It's not sweet, no, but it's soft. It's like
It's
mushy.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that texture.
Yeah, it's like the bottom of a cake where you're like, ooh, we got some moisture down here.
Yeah, totally.
so-
But then you get the crunchy like celery pieces and yum.
I don't know if she had celery in this one. If there was celery in it, it was very soft, so I didn't. There was no crunch to this. But there was we had all the things, and everything was really good. But it was just the two of us, and as she's carving the turkey, I'm like, Mom, I mean, we'll both be fed for a month. Look at like what are we doing here? Like, did we expect an army? And so I came home with lots of leftovers and a lot. I've eaten everything. Believe
for
it or
you.
not, it's all gone except there's a little bit of turkey left, which kind of has to go into a soup at this point, because you can't
Yeah.
just sort of have turkey hanging out too long. But oh my gosh, a delicious delight. And I thought to myself, well, all right, so I'm going to be, going through this like weird, chemo thing, and everybody's experience is different, and I really can't speak to it because it hasn't started yet. So I just don't know. I could be fine. But if I'm not, I could have a real hard time eating. That's one
Yeah.
of the main complaints with people is like just loss of appetite, and
Yeah.
kind of, maybe, weight loss and just sort of feeling sort of feeble.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to eat my way into next week, which I'm
I
doing.
love it.
There's
I
a
think
piece
you
of pumpkin
should.
pie upstairs that I have been waiting for exactly the moment that we
In
finish
fact,
the show,
if,
Heather.
if we lived any closer, I would drive down this pumpkin cheesecake that we got that is truly
wow.
to die for. Normally, I would not pick something like that. We were actually going to get like a cream pie, but long story, that place is super high maintenance. So we didn't order from them, but we ended up getting a couple pies from this other bakery that's very good. And I was at first when my sister said I got a pumpkin cheesecake, I was like, "Aw, you didn't get like a regular cheesecake? I mean a regular pumpkin pie?" And I was a little disappointed. But then when I tried it, it wasn't exactly what I
Yeah,
expected. It was so good.
I've had pumpkin cheesecake before, and I don't remember where or when, probably more than once, and it was great. I like cheesecake. Not everybody
Light
does.
and fluffy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you like cheesecake, pumpkin cheesecake is pretty great. But I know what you
so
mean.
great.
You kind of just want that pumpkin pie, like the
Yeah, one
simple
of like
pumpkin pie.
traditional.
You
Totally.
add a little Cool Whip if you want, not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just maybe you have it cold the next day. Maybe you reheat it. It's all up to you.
The world is your oyster. I made some pumpkin chocolate chip cookies that were kind of a hit, and I've been eating
Yeah,
them
that sounds good.
every day since. And yeah, we just had a lot of dessert in the house. In fact, we had a lot of leftovers too. But it was weird the next day. I was a little hungover. We had some champagne, we had a lot of wine. We had a great kind of mix of like a family and a friendsgiving kind of thing. It was like a kind of a perfect little balance of
Uh-huh.
the types of people or whatever. Everyone like really jived, and it was very fun. It was a very festive and lovely evening. And I must have had 3 different helpings. I mean, it was very good food. We had a lot of leftovers the next day, but I woke up and it was so weird. I ate a can of Amy's alphabet soup because I felt like I didn't feel sick, but it was weird. It was like I just craved a can of boring soup as opposed to all these rich like leftovers, which I thought it was like sort of a weird thing
And
to
this
do.
is
Like
where
I felt
you and I
sort
differ.
of guilty. But then I ate like 4 cookies. So I don't
Sure.
know. I
Yeah.
don't know how you deconstruct
I know
that.
what you mean though. So Thanksgiving in the US, I know everybody knows, Thanksgiving isn't everywhere, but obviously Heather and I both live in the US. Thanksgiving was so at the time of this recording, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, 5 days ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4
Indeed.
days ago. 4 days ago. And so that is all I've been eating, including this morning,
Wow.
since Thanksgiving.
I'm
And,
impressed.
in various, I also like, I'm weird. So, like, I put eggnog in my green tea, and I put kimchi
I don't
on
think
my
that's that weird.
leftover mashed potatoes, and just, whatever. It's like, why not just let's get experimental kind
I'm
of
telling
thing.
you, cookbook deal, Sarah.
Yeah.
Cookbook deal. I'm getting you one.
Yeah, I have I was told
Weird
recently.
recipes by Sarah Lane.
Yeah. Well, I've been told my entire, sort of adult life when I cooked for myself, like you're kind of a strange eater, but not a bad one. Just you just make strange choices sometimes. And I'm like, well,
You're very
get your own
creative.
plate then.
I think
Yeah.
creative is the word.
Creative, yeah.
And there's
Let's
nothing
call it
wrong with that.
creative. Totally. So I know that you've kind of been winding down from a very, very chaotic, really, but soundingly rewarding situation with your film, which you talked about a little bit in last week's show. But how are you feeling now?
Well, it's interesting you ask, Sarah. I feel fine today. I mean, everything's fine. I definitely kind of I dipped into, wait a minute, like, what am I doing? What was my routine like before the movie? And it was funny because I was chatting with Mike M in Discord earlier today because he basically said like, I can't wait to hear more about the movie. I hope you can enjoy some like downtime. Something like, and maybe you'll have a little more fondness, a bit of fondness for some of the mundane. And he kind of like read my mind because that has been such a theme since the movie wrapped, is that I do enjoy sometimes the mundane. And I think I was enjoying not even the mundane, it might not be the right way of putting it, but just the day to day, the routine of what I was doing before. I have a good life. I work a fair amount and it's fulfilling, and I have enough like leisure time where I'm not like, so strapped. I don't have to go to like a 9 to 5, which is great. I don't have to like get up and go. And during the movie I had to, for almost 2 months. And I think really like I chalk it up to the simplicity of getting used to something, and I was no longer used to my routine before the movie, and I got used to this weird routine with the movie, and it was hard and it was wacky and it was, getting up super early and getting home late and stuff that I normally don't love doing. But I got like weirdly not addicted to it, but I sort of missed it. And I was sort of having, I was like trying to put like a shoe on that didn't fit or something. Like I just felt like after Thanksgiving, I just was trying to settle in. And my sister's like, dude, just chill, read a book, just like relax. You haven't relaxed in so long. Like you've been going, going, going. And I'm like, I know, I know. But I mean, I still have to continue. I have a lot to do on the other side, but I just didn't really have the motivation for it. And I was having a hard time with the mundane, or at least my previous routine. I just wasn't enjoying things like I did before. And like even
Yeah, yeah.
like watching a movie, like I don't even know what I want to watch. Like I'm kind of in this
Yeah,
weird
you were
kind of
just
like, eh.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like not anxiety, but just that feeling of just being like I can't get comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just, yeah, it's like I'm restless kind of, but I also like I'm drawn to being home because I know I need to just chill, because I will say for the last 4 days, I mean, since the holiday, because when I finished the movie, and it was like you had a couple days before like Thanksgiving, and I had, people come into town. So I really didn't have a lot of time to relax. I might have taken like one quick nap, like a disco nap, but for the most
Yeah.
part, I was like prepping to host Thanksgiving. So really my downtime started like more or less on Friday at, I guess, yeah, Friday after Thanksgiving. And I did chill, but it was hard to chill. Like I felt like, I don't know, I felt like very unproductive, and I didn't feel inspired, and I wasn't even inspired to like
Mm-hmm.
take a nap or just chill. Like I felt guilty. It was so weird. And it was not a good feeling. I won't lie. Like I love it when you can
Yeah.
indulge in being lazy, or you can, maybe if you work really hard. Usually if I like work out, or yeah, go on a long hike, or yeah, do a big job, I'm justified to like, chill out and read a
Right.
book and just
Which
kick my feet
which
up.
and I'm not gonna say like you're like ooh you're unhealthy, but like I think a lot of us do that where it's like I don't deserve to chill.
I agree. Yeah,
Like
totally.
I need to like be like more productive so that I am rewarded to chill. And
Yes,
that
it's exactly
sometimes is
that.
true. If you have a bunch of stuff to do, you got to do it. And then
Uh-huh.
other times it's like, you know what? That's not really the right way to think about life.
No.
You kind of just got to be like, nope, I'm going to reset and, fill up the tank,
Yeah, it's like
so to
I had
speak.
to get a lot of encouragement from my sister. She was like, dude, like, and I was like making all these plans. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna do that. And she's like, oh my God, why can't you just chill? Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of was like, yeah, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I not able to do this? And I think I just got used to the get up and go. And there's nothing wrong with that. We
And
easily
I know it
adapt.
was punishing for you because we were
It
talking about it,
was.
sometimes where you'd be like, oh man, you're driving at 4 a.m. through like weird woods, like not fun,
Hmm.
and then being like in, just sort of a wet forest,
Yeah,
cold and,
very.
with like no internet service and stuff. It's like
Yep.
also not fun, but also you like felt alive.
Yeah, I
And
think
so
there was
maybe that's a little
definitely.
bit of like the whole kind of like just like hibernating doesn't feel quite right to you yet.
Exactly, exactly. And dude, I can totally indulge in hibernating. Like I love like a cozy day in, like read my magazines and watch movies and that kind of thing. And I think, it makes sense to me. It doesn't even seem that weird. And I think also it's kind of like that feeling you get, or that we used to get, harken back, Sarah, like when we were in, I don't know, just younger. And then you would sign everybody's yearbooks and you'd be off on your summer plans, and you'd totally switch gears. You're like leaving a whole year at school. You're saying bye to the people you saw every day. It's kind of like that. It's this weird kind of, it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
happy to be done, but you're a little
You're gonna miss
wistful. Like
them.
you're going to miss them. And I
Yeah,
talked to
yeah.
one of them today, actually, who I was really in the trenches with. And it was so great to hear from her. And it was sort of a trip. It was just like, just the stuff we talked about, and, like just being right next to her, like for that many days in a row, like in close quarters and in tough moments. And I don't know, I think it is a very strange transition. And I'm feeling a little bit more, I'm coming out of that, I think, today. I think like over the weekend, it was just like, I was like plodding through things, and today I'm feeling a little bit more normal, but yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on this week that I'll probably talk a little bit more about next week, but it's kind of interesting, but yeah, just, sort of to end the saga of like the extreme adulting from the last 2 years, Sarah, I have to create a will. And I have to now, and I have a
For
lot of friends who,
yourself?
yes, I have to create a will.
Okay.
And I know,
Okay.
it's just crazy. And I mean, I'm not doing it by choice, but because of the whole situation with this estate and everything that's gone on, like business wise, we
I think
kind of
that's, I
have
mean,
to.
people
Yeah.
make wills.
Well, sure.
it's not weird to do that.
Sure. But I feel I'm getting pressured to do it, I guess. And I have to do it this week. And so it's just one of those things where I'm just like, okay, back into that life. Okay. That's what I'm doing this week. So I'm
Right,
kind
right.
of, we're kind of, working on kind of honing what we're going to do with this business, me and my sister, that is, and kind of going to that next level that we knew we'd get to at this time of the year. So it's fine. I find it fascinating. I'm gonna dive back into this stuff, but yeah, it's definitely been an exciting year, and I I think sooner than later I'm probably gonna sign on to another project just because I don't know, maybe we're all masochists. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you do, I know that you'll be really good at it. Having worked with you for so many years on projects,
Thanks, Lane.
yeah,
What's funny? Do you ever get flashbacks? Because sometimes I'll have these flashbacks of when we used to do like pretty much whatever we wanted to, like because we ran shows, like we created shows, we created the content, we developed all the ideas. A lot of times people, even like from this last movie, I had kind of a specific position as a producer, and a lot of people are like, yeah, it's so interesting how a wide range of like producer positions, like they're not always it's
Yeah.
not like you're doing this and this every time. Like it varies, and I've talked about this on the show before. But I was trying to explain to some people that like, yeah, I was like always in development. Every producer position that I had in television was like also involved development, coming up the content, with either by yourself or like with a crew, like a collaboration. And I was thinking about some of the weird skits that you and I used to do, like on camera. And I wonder what happened to
Yeah.
all those. And it's like, I think
They're
back to,
probably, I mean, if anybody would know, it would be David Prager, because
That's
I
true.
feel like he just like has things like this. But
okay, like on tape, or just like he
I don't
digitizes them
know.
and keeps them.
Who
Because
knows?
here's the thing.
He's
I
just
was
like,
thinking,
I feel like when I'm like, I need this like very random thing, I'm like, go to Prager, because he might actually just have it in his garage.
I might have to ask him because there's all these bits that I did that I have forgotten about that I would love to see again. And this was like kind of early internet days. And even when you and I actually went to
yeah.
Sundance Film Festival and we interviewed the Beastie Boys, like
Yeah.
I had forgotten we did that. And someone was asking me if I had been to Sundance, and I said, well, yeah, actually, I went a really long time ago. It was like, I don't know, like early 2000s, and interviewed the Beastie Boys in like a yurt, like on
I
a
think it
snowy
was
mountain.
I think I can remember this. I think it was 2005.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Because I think it is, or
I think it
2004,
was. It was somewhere
2005.
around
I think
there.
it was the winter of whenever those 2 years were. I know it for sure because I remember that too, and I remember who we were with, and we all got like a weird cabin at Sundance where like a couple of the guys like had to like room together, and they were like
Yeah.
grumbling about it, but
Yeah.
like and like a couple of people were
Totally.
sleeping on the couch, and I came back with like a horrendous cold because we were just
Yep.
in the snow all day. It was fun though.
Yep. It was
from what
really
I can
fun.
recall, which is
I know,
very
and I remember
minimal.
like weird tidbits from that trip, and it was a long time ago. But like I totally remember being in that. I don't know if it was a yurt, but it was some kind of tent in the snow on the hill, like where people were skiing. And we interviewed the Beastie Boys, and I was like, "That is so cool! Like, where is that video?" Like, and I was thinking maybe I should, resurrect my website, even though I'm not. It's not like I'm, looking to. I'm not looking for a gig right now, but I like the idea of having all of my work in one place. but I feel like it's
Yeah.
just scattered, and I would be really cool to, I'm going to keep
Yeah.
forgetting what I've done.
I kind of so that kind of stuff, speaking of anxiety, that kind of stuff gives me anxiety because I'm such a I don't collect anything. In fact, I hate things. Like I
Yeah,
want to have as few things as possible
that's a
because
good
that's
thing.
easier for me to, just kind of not like that I don't like things. I mean, there's plenty of things. Like look at this garage. My God, it's filled with my junk. But I don't, I try not to just like, kind of have stuff all around. But because of that, I don't have a lot of the same stuff that you're talking about where I'm like, I would actually really enjoy seeing that. And every once in a while, someone will send me something that they found online or maybe they digitized, who knows? And it's something
Yeah.
that I'm in and I watch it and I'm like, I know that's me. I mean, it's clearly me, but I don't even remember doing this because there were so many of those things. You do live
Yeah.
television for long enough, you can't remember everything. But
Nope.
I know what you mean about some of that stuff, and I kind of, I stopped caring really about. I don't take a lot of photos anymore. I take photos, but I don't take I don't consider photography my hobby. It is in my heart, but in practice, not at all.
It used to
And
be.
oh my God. And even when I was younger, I was, always the kid with the camera. And I have all that stuff. I mean, none of it's digitized. It's in boxes,
Yep.
not 4 feet away from me right now. And I
Yep.
think like, okay, well, you were talking about making a will. It's like, who would I will this to?
Yeah.
Because there's actually a lot of people in my life who are somewhere in that box,
Sure. Of
maybe
course.
multiple times or like just one photo where you're like, wow, oh, I love this photo. And at the time, it didn't mean anything to us because we were
Yep.
younger. That
Yeah.
stuff tends to creep up on you. And,
Yeah, it
it's
does.
one of those like long-term projects that are on my list, like everything
That you
else.
never want to do when the time comes because you're like, oh, actually, when you're
It's
in
like
that
I feel
mood.
like once you get going, there is a box of photos that it's like I never open it. I
Yeah.
just move from apartment to apartment. I know they're there. I know they're safe, but I know there's not water damage.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's just too much.
It
It
is.
spans so many years, and like I'm just. It's gonna, and there's negatives in there, and then then I think about, well, I should scan the negatives, and like, because the prints themselves are gonna, they're gonna degrade over time, and then it turns into this whole thing where I'm like, can't do it.
You're like, forget it. Yeah, it's in fact, I did a bit of winter cleaning over the weekend because I just wanted to like stay busy, and because we got all some of these renovations, our house was very dusty because of they're doing all this like tile work, and there's just a layer of dust on everything, including because our bathroom is right off of our closet. So I noticed how much dust like had fallen like on our clothes and shoes. Like I took a pair of shoes out and it was like just covered in dust. So I was like, I gotta like actually get some gloves on and just get in here and like clean this closet out. It wasn't something that I was like looking forward to do, but I actually got really into it. And I ended up, we did like a huge dump at like a thrift store that basically all the proceeds go to like a sort of an animal, sort of situation, lost animals, lost pets, that kind of thing. And it felt really good. And but yeah, you have to like be in that mood of like, yeah, you have to want to open up boxes and sort through things, and it's hard to get in that mood because there's always something else to do that's more pressing,
Yeah.
and like
There,
taxes.
oh yeah. I mean, and what's more fun than taxes? That always comes first. Oh
Oh,
God.
the dreadful turn of the new year. I think that's part of why I mentioned in the cold open, sort of, and you guys know us pretty well by now. And I have mentioned on many shows going back many years how much I do get a little anxious around my birthday, around this time after Thanksgiving and the holidays are coming up and it's colder and darker. And then, the new year shows up and then you're like, oh, what have I showed for myself? Like, like there's all these questions that you ask yourself and meaning of life and whatnot. And, yeah, I want to, my goal this year, and I will keep you posted. And Sarah, you'll have to kind of keep me to it. Like it's like homework in a way. Like I really want to kind of shake up my attitude about the
Okay.
holidays. I'm going to do something kind of different this year. And I'm going to start some new traditions. And I'm actually surprisingly okay about it. I'm really not feeling that dreadful feeling entering December as I normally do. I don't know. I feel like a new beginning, I guess. And there's always something to look forward to if you let yourself not kind of stay on like the negative side of things. So I'm kind of looking forward to what is on the other side of this year and all the accomplishments, and sort of the fruits of our labor, if you
Yeah.
will. So
This is definitely, I mean, I know your birthday is right before New Year's, so they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, how can you
yeah.
help it? But, my birthday, as I've talked about, is I just don't really care about it. But if I care about it too much, I feel that I get disappointed. And
Totally. And that's
that's
smart,
just,
actually.
and I actually have been disappointed on birthdays past, but it's like that's neither here nor there. It's like I kind of like created that for myself,
Yeah.
where and some of it is out of your hands emotionally, but I think yeah, I know some folks who New Year's doesn't really do anything for me one way or
Yeah.
another. Like if there's a party or if there's not a party, I'm just like, it's whatever. I don't feel weird on January 1st. I know some people who get real low on
Yeah,
January
totally.
1st
Totally.
because it's like it's still winter, holidays are over. Like what's happening? Like, if you have
Where
like
do I go from here?
yeah, like there sometimes doesn't seem to be a lot on the horizon.
Yeah,
And I get
totally.
that. I mean, I know that's really common.
Yep, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of articles out there right now. I feel like I keep stumbling upon these articles about, seasonal affective disorder and,
Yeah, which is real
how to
for some
tackle,
people.
the winter blues. Yeah, no, totally get it. And I think, just sort of reminding yourself of, I know for me, a lot of it's like mind over matter. I really feel like that works for me. If I just don't let my mind go too far into a dark place, I can control that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to look forward to, and there always is. There always should be.
Well, before we kind of, wrap up the show, I did want to mention that my chemo journey is very TBD because it hasn't started yet. I have a pretty good idea of how the first session is going to go, and it does not sound fun. But we'll see. I honestly, like I was almost like maybe I could like bring my VR headset and play Tetris all day, but it's like no, because you can't put anything in your head because I'm gonna do this cold cap thing. Like
Yeah.
that's not gonna work. But I could certainly like load up some movies on the iPad. My mom will be there. I can
Yeah.
read books. Like I don't know, close my eyes and count to 10. Like there are many things I can do, but it's gonna be a long day.
So you start early, I would imagine, since it's going to be
Yeah,
many hours.
it's a 7-hour session.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And part of that is because you have to do so anybody who's not familiar with cold cap therapy, it sometimes is also called a cold I don't know. There are a couple other words, but you could, if you want to Google that, it's this whole thing where it's supposed to save your hair follicles from falling out. And they do that by freezing them before you get your infusion, which for whatever reason kind of keeps the infusion from going there. And so it makes it less likely that your hair is going to fall out. It's somewhat experimental and mixed results, truly. I've heard really good things about it, and I've heard like not even worth the money. Don't bother.
Wow.
You'll be bald in 3 weeks anyway. So I don't know.
That's
But
discouraging.
well, it's like I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try, and I'll report back for sure.
I would
But,
try too. I think it's what you need to do for sure.
yeah, just kind of I don't know. It's like use the tools afforded to me. But but let's just say that doesn't happen. I have been doing quite a bit of underground research on wigs, Heather.
Oh,
Now, now I know that, some people are, oh, first of all, some people just like wigs
oh
and wear
yeah,
them
for
like
sure.
for like fun and versatility.
Yep.
Some people need them for, maybe they have a certain kind of hair or a certain kind of hair loss or, for whatever reason that is part of your life. Also get that. And then, you get a lot of the chemo group. And, it's a whole subset. I mean, on Reddit, oh my gosh. I mean, you could read
Oh,
about
I
this all
bet.
day. Yeah, like chemo patients and wigs. That's not the only place you can read about this, but and I have a friend who had some pretty significant hair loss some years ago, and they had sent me some resources like, oh, here's some like really good, like they have like good wigs. Now, I will not like talk about like wigs that I'm buying or not buying because at this point I'm not buying any, because we're gonna see if if we're at that point yet. But Heather, the sticker shock on some of these wigs will knock your socks off.
Really?
Yeah, because so they're, and listen, anybody out there who's like already, way down this path or is well versed in wigs, I know that I'm a noob. I am a big wig noob because I never really just thought about it, because I don't know. I
Sure.
mean, unless it was like a costume or something, but not like a lifestyle
But you
thing.
never got into costuming anyway. You never got into dressing up for Halloween.
Well, I mean, when I was a child, but but no. So there are many different kinds of wigs, many different kinds of the way that they like thread them.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
and
meant
different
like
materials.
different material. I mean, there's synthetic
Mm-hmm.
wigs, and then there's like real hair wigs. The
Yep.
people who like donate to Locks of Love and things like that. I mean, that's where all that stuff comes from, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. That like a good like I am not kidding. And listen, I'm looking at like the like Beverly Hills wigs of the bunch just for
Yeah.
fun
Yeah,
sometimes, but
yeah.
like a good human hair wig that is like the same hair length that I have now, $7,000.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes way. Like it gets up there.
Well, because it
Now,
probably
of
looks
course,
really realistic. It looks like real hair, and like the cheaper you go, the more it's just
well,
gonna, yeah,
and
it's
it's
gonna
all
look
about the
synthetic.
fit, and there's
Yeah.
some lace involved, and do you want baby hairs, and do you want to be able to put it up, and like there, and that's the crazy thing. Like, first of all, I'm not like out here being like all wigs are $7,000. Not at all. I mean, you could get a wig for
There's a
$50.
range. Yeah,
No
totally.
problem. But like, when you're kind of going like, all right, I really want something to like look and feel like me. And maybe if I'm wearing it and I might wear it for a week, like, can I like put a beret in it or, like do a ponytail? And like, there are certain wigs where you can do that. And certain wigs where you can't, where it's like, no, this is kind of the style. And like, that's what you're doing, with this wig.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating. And I, again, first of all, don't have $7,000 to buy a fancy wig. And I hope nobody else has to do that either. But if you do, please let me know. But otherwise, I just the sort of the construction of how this works when it really is something that is part of your identity. And you had mentioned this when we were talking last week. Just kind of hair being identity and something that, kind of helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just sort of how that works is just, it's kind of, this is a new one for me. So I've in a way, because I love to do a deep dive on just anything in general, I I find this to be a silver lining, haha, no pun intended, even if that was one, about this whole wig journey because I really kind of, I'm feeling like I know a lot more about what people do and go through and what they need and what they choose.
Yeah.
And the colors and the fits and
No, it's super interesting.
all that stuff.
Yeah, you're nerding out on wigs, and it's like a realm that you've never, gone. And that's what's so great about life, and why when people say they're bored or like, it's like how can you ever be bored? there's just information everywhere. There's interesting things to read about and learn about everywhere. There's no way you could ever run out of things to do and to read and to watch and to think about. I mean, there's no way, even if you tried like really hard, you would never.
Right.
So that's great. I'm so glad you found a little light at the end of the tunnel.
I know. It's it maybe sounds a little silly, but it's like, this is actually like, this is a really interesting, like, I want to go to like a hair show, and like, let's look at some, like I kind of,
you have a new appreciation, and it's an art, it's like all these people are making these things. I mean, this is like an art form. It's like making a hat or it's like making anything, making any kind of art.
I mean, some of these wigs, like especially the human hair wigs, you can like go get them done at the salon.
Wow.
Yeah, like get some tips, like do a little blonde tip type. Like, it's real hair.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow,
I know.
that's wild.
I know. Which reminds me, it's like all the hair on our head is kind of dead anyway. So like when you think, you're like, can you do that with a wig? It's like we're all kind of wearing wigs.
No,
they
it's
just
totally
keep growing.
true.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
Anyway, I digress, but I'll keep y'all posted, because the next time we all talk, I will have been through my first infusion session. Hopefully it will be pretty smooth sailing. I've got some anti-anxiety meds just in case it isn't. So I'm not.
Well, I will
too
be.
worried about
I will
it.
be on call officially on Friday. If you need to chat it up,
Thank
or
you. Yeah, I'll
or
probably
anything,
call
I'll be
everyone
around.
I know, because I'm going to be so
Yeah.
bored.
Totally.
Having been there for so long.
Yeah. You're going to meet some people. You're going to have some interesting conversations. I think it's going to be interesting on some level for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It will be interesting on some level. That is an astute observation. All right. So as we wrap up,
From
just
your
want to remind
brain dead
everybody.
friend.
No, you're not brain dead. I mean, I feel very brain dead myself. Please do find us on patreon.com/have such a good day if you are interested in directly supporting the show. Many of you who have been patrons of ours for a long time know that we had to take a little bit of a break. We are back. We are happy to be back, and we're so happy to have a few of you join the flock, so to speak. We've got Jonathan, we've got Brian, we've got George, we've got Steven, and we've got David.
Woo woo!
Thanks. Wow. I mean, that's so cool. I know it was a holiday week since our last show, and so thanks if you're feeling in the giving spirit. But it's very heartwarming. So thank you.
I love it too.
to
Like all of their
all.
names are so like they're just like very solid male names.
It's
know?
like the Beatles.
It is kind of like the
Jonathan,
Beatles.
Brian,
Totally,
George. Steven, and David.
You guys
Yeah,
should form a band.
Thank you to all. And again, patreon.com/have such a good day is where to find out how to directly support our show. You get some perks. If you can part with $5 per month or more, you can join our Discord. That's a really fun, cool, inclusive group there. And you also get an ad-free feed. If ads bug you, they don't bug everybody, because we do offer the show for free. But if for any reason you'd like to bypass that and just kind of be part of the community, well, that's how you do it.
Sarah, I have a good band name for you for when you want to start a band next year. You want to hear it?
Because I do. All right, sure.
Big Wig Noob, or Big Wig Noobs. Or
Big
wig
wig
noobs. Noobs.
I mean,
Wig
Heather,
noobs.
you gotta shop this one a little bit more. You're like,
Wig noobs.
You're like, I have a band name for you. Big wig. No, that's not what I meant.
No,
But
wig noobs.
No, wait, no.
I'm
Big
riffing.
noobs. It's okay. Yeah, I mean,
I'm also very brain dead.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's
Well, it's funny.
It's Monday. What are you
I
gonna
will
do?
say it is Monday, and I will say that I have been getting some decent nights sleep, but I wake up and I'm still kind of tired. And so I'm like, I think I have like that cumulative tired, where it's like I just need like a couple weeks to just kind of get back on track. But yeah, speaking of Monday, a friend of mine started a thread to talk about specifically who is going to get murdered in the White Lotus show.
Lotus. Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to do any spoilers here, so don't worry. But it was such a fun little Monday sort of distraction because I was like kind of diving into like all this like stuff for this week, and I'm just like, you know,
I forgot to watch the latest.
Oh, it's good. Well, it's good. Well, what I wanted to say, because
I'm all into Andor right now, so that's all I'm watching.
Yeah, and it's hard to kind of break away because it's like a completely different like vibe. But it's funny because like the last.
All I want to do is Andor right now.
Well, you do that. You do that.
Thank you, Heather. But I will eventually get to the end, and then I'll watch something else. So then I'll have the White Lotus, maybe an episode or two.
And yeah, we'll chat it up about that. But what I wanted to mention is last episode I said I was sort of, and I think maybe it was partially because I was just coming off this movie, and I was having a hard time getting into anything. Like it just like nothing really seemed. I just was sort of distracted and I wasn't paying attention and I just wasn't that into it. And so I started White Lotus, you know, it came online like, let's say, I don't know, a month ago, and I started watching it and I just found it to be sort of flat. Like I had said last episode that I didn't feel like there was a lot of plot, you know, and that kind of thing. And the more I'm kind of talking about it though, with these people in my little group, you know, there is quite a bit of subtext. And I think I just wasn't really giving it a chance because why would someone like Mike White, who created it, he's an interesting guy, he's been in the industry for a long time, like why would he put together something that would be that sort of, I don't know, like I guess one-dimensional.
Great directors make bad movies all the time.
True. But, and plus there's such a overwhelming amount of content now, there is a lot of crap out there. So it wouldn't be that weird if it was just total crap. But what I'm just saying is that I like it a little bit more now. I've sort of, it's opened up my eyes to sort of like the subtext that sort of surrounds this like potential murder. And, you know, the more you kind of think about it and the more you deconstruct these characters and like these scenes, it's become more interesting to me. There's a lot of sex, yes, and there's a lot of politics and there's a lot of sexual politics, but there's definitely more subtext that I'm really having fun like deconstructing that. So yeah, Sarah, so hop to it when you're finished with Andor. Let's discuss.
Let's do it. Well, I think episode 168 of Have Such a Good Day, if you can believe we've done that many episodes, because sometimes we can't ourselves. We're glad to have you along for the ride.
You guys are the best.
Whether you're in a car right now or on a bus or, I don't know, home or on a walk. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to know a little bit more about.
Yeah, when do you listen? What do you do
when the show? I know for a fact one of our friends, you'll remain nameless, listens to us while working out, and always, you know, he. I mean, it is a he. He'll text me and just be like, "This is just such a weird conversation," as I'm like trying to like deadlift.
You're like, "Yep,
you know,
yep,
like,
that's our show."
Yep.
I know maybe we need to get like we need to do more like pumping iron, like enthusiastic, like
yes.
Do it, you got this.
This is the show to listen to while working out, just to make it weird. You know, like, is your workout regimen boring you? Well, we've got just the podcast.
We got you covered.
All right. Until next time, I will remain Sarah,
and I will remain Heather forever.
Have such a
good day.